What's your Hinge horror story?
I matched with Sarah on Hinge last week. Her profile was perfect. Witty one-liners, adventurous photos, and a subtle air of mystery. She had this one picture in a forest, sunlight cutting through the trees, her smile almost glowing. It didn't seem like just a picture. It felt alive, like you could feel the breeze in it. We started chatting, and the conversation flowed effortlessly. She said she was a freelance photographer, and that she'd spent the past few years traveling to remote locations for her work. I asked her about the forest picture, and she said it was taken during her trip to Blackwood Grove, a place I'd never heard of. She joked that it was her favorite spot, but she never told anyone how to find it. I thought she was being playful, but when I asked where she lived now, she just said, "I'm always nearby." Weird, but I let it slide. After a few days of talking, we decided to meet in person. She suggested a coffee shop in my neighborhood that I hadn't been to before, but I agreed. When I walked in, I was early, and the place was empty, except for one table in the corner. A woman sat there with her back to me, wearing a black coat with long, dark hair spilling over the collar. I assumed it was her, but before I could approach, I got a text. "Running a little late, but I'm so excited to meet you." I froze. My eyes flicked back to the woman in the corner. She was still sitting completely still. She hadn't touched her coffee, and something about the way she was sitting, it felt too stiff, like she wasn't even breathing. I replied, "Take your time," and waited a little longer. But Sarah never showed up. When I finally left, I noticed the woman was still sitting there. I couldn't shake the feeling she was watching me as I walked out, though I never saw her turn her head. That night, I messaged Sarah to ask what happened, but she didn't respond. Hours passed, and as I was about to go to bed, I got a notification, a new photo on her Hinge profile. It was me, standing outside the coffee shop. I deleted the app immediately, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. A week later, I decided to go back to the coffee shop just to see if I could make sense of it. It was closed, not just for the day, permanently. The windows were boarded up, and a sign read, "Condemned, do not enter." I stared at it for a long time before turning to leave. Across the street, I noticed someone standing on the corner. It was Sarah, or at least it looked like her. She was staring at me, unmoving, just like the woman in the coffee shop. And then I realized what was wrong. Her face wasn't glowing. It was blurred, like someone had erased her features. And when I blinked, she was gone.